message for Christian women, women who proclaim to have faith, women who say that they are set apart, they are chosen, and all sorts of titles. But have you ever asked yourselves if you do what Jehovah wants of you? Because if you say you are a chosen woman of God, then you have to realize that chosen means because you choose to do the work, you chose to enter into the work of a servant. That means you fulfill Leviticus 19:15 through 18, which is being in covenant yourself, keeping the covenant of promise, and fulfilling the royal law, watching just like Ezekiel 2 and 3 tells us to, because it's time of lamentation, mourning, and war we are in. And if you go around saying you are chosen, then you have to understand what this means. I just wanted to remind you by saying all this that the titles you give yourself are not just vain words. You just put a label on yourself to make yourself feel better in any type of way. Is even on Matthew it tells you, do not let your right hand know what the left one is doing, or something like that. Like basically be unaware of your accomplishment, but make sure that your focus is his kingdom and his people. His kingdom is his people. So, and his kingdom is his righteousness, is his covenant, is what he called us to do. So we can prepare the way for the Lord. Because it's confusing how many of women in the church or in Torah movement is such a demonic thing, I'm telling you. Like people who come against me in these comments, who come from Torah movement, there's some demonic presence coming with them, because they willingly, they know the word and they read the word. Well, they don't know it because the truth cannot be revealed to somebody who is coveting, who breaks the 10th commandment. So the truth will not be revealed to them because they profane God's feasts, and he told us clearly not to do them. And in Hosea 2 verses 11 to 14 tells you that if you keep profaning God's feasts, you will go into tribulation. So when these women come against my comments, they openly say, I'm an evil servant, and I'm coming against you and I'm rebuking you, even though there's no sin. So these women have no idea what is the reason for rebuke. Why would you rebuke somebody? You rebuke somebody so they can come back on the straight and narrow. They can refresh themselves in the 10 Commandments. They can offer sacrifices acceptable by Yah, which is poor and contrite spirit. And beatitudes are written to those servants. The full armor of God is for the servants of God, of Jehovah, people who chose to serve, people who chose to watch. Jacob the servant, very elect, people who realized that the Bible is true, who received the spirit of truth and the testimony of Yeshua, which is the spirit of prophecy. People who understand what the word is saying, people who keep the key of David, people who do what Jehovah asks of them, asks of us when we call ourselves set apart. Because set apart isn't just a word, it's how you're supposed to walk the walk. And a lot of you women just act foolishly because you come against those who do the work, and you just come against them because you have no idea what Jehovah wants of you. And it cannot be revealed to you because you're disobedient. You willfully disobey him. And if you willfully disobey him, then that's just heading into a tribulation. So go and read Deuteronomy 4, where it tells you that if you in tribulation and you repent and keep the 10 Commandments, then Jehovah will hear you. He will consider you. But let's read Genesis 3. This is the story from the Garden of Eden, where Eve was tempted by serpent, and he saw seeds of doubt in her mind, and then this came with a curse because that was the first commandment in the Garden of Eden. There was a one commandment. Adam and Eve was told, well, prior to Eve being formed, Adam was told not to eat from the tree of good and evil. And this particular passage shows you, because a lot of women say that Eve didn't know. Adam, he knew and he didn't do nothing. He didn't, like, there's all sorts of things women say about this. But this passage shows you that Eve knew the commandment because she said to the serpent, are we supposed to eat of it? We're not supposed to. But let's read it and let's see it with our own eyes. So Genesis 3 verse 2. And the woman said unto the serpent, we may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God hath said, ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. So if anybody comes around, any woman comes around and says, but Eve did not know. Yes, she did. Yes, she did. And she said that to the serpent. Verse 4, and the serpent said unto the woman, ye shall not surely die. And now think about how deceived are women and why are they deceived and what's the way the serpent enemy, Satan, can attack women. Well, what's the entry? Through her mind and through her feelings. So you can see in verse 4 that the serpent sows seeds of doubt in a woman's brain, in a woman's head, in a woman's heart. She knew the commandments. Then verse 5, for God doth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good, knowing good and evil. So verse 5, having knowledge of good and evil. If they was in the garden, now think about it, if they was in the garden and they knew this one commandment, not to go and trespass there, not to go and trespass it, right? Not to go and do against it, not to go and do against God, because God commanded not. There was a one commandment, do not eat of this tree. So if the serpent said to the Eve, for God doth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. The way this what the serpent have spoken to Eve is like whitewashing. It's making her curious. She could become very curious. Curiosity. I don't know if I said this word properly though. So she became like, it's like making something look. Because if there is a commandment in the Garden of Eden, one commandment, not to do something, and somebody's coming to you and is tempting you, it shouldn't be that bad. It shouldn't be, shouldn't be something you should be ashamed of. Just try it. Why don't you try it? It's good. I'm telling you, it's good. And they probably know because they tell you not to eat of it because they already try it and they don't want you to know how good it is. So you see how this could play out in a woman's mind. This sentence, this few words. That is why woman is deceived by nature. And women with Jezebel spirit will not see that because they're full of pride. And the woman who chose submission, who chose to humble herself, she knows she's deceived. And the woman with Jezebel spirit, she is deceived because she thinks that she can do anything and she can be anyone and she can just, be that strong feminist woman who cannot be told that she's wrong, who cannot be corrected, who cannot be rebuked, who have to like always be loud and always say something and always, come against people who genuinely do the work of God. If you covet and usurping authority over the man is covetousness, that's the 10th commandment, then nothing will be given to you. Truth will not be revealed to you because you do not keep the 10 commandments. But verse 6. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and the tree to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof, and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. So it shows you that this woman, Eve, didn't, consider her husband. She made a decision by herself. She took of it and she's eaten. So woman is deceived because of the doubts in her head. She makes decisions influenced by her thoughts and emotions. So thoughts and feelings. This is where enemy targets women to make them feel some type of way. And the society we are living in right now is this society that empowers women. And that is why some women will not see that the woman is at fault in here because she did not come to her husband. And Satan came for a woman because Satan knew that the woman is a weaker vessel for a reason. You are deceived by nature. You either submit it fully to Yeshua, to Jehovah, or you have your head, which is your God ordained husband. And that's how the godly marriage is supposed to look. Woman's supposed to consider her husband. She's supposed to come to her man and say, listen, this is what's happening. This is how I feel, and this is what's in my head. Can you just tell me what to do because I do not know? Eve didn't do that. This tree symbolizes disobedience. Because the commandment was given, you can see that she did something she not supposed to, hence why they was booted out hence why they was kicked out of the Garden of Eden. Because they trespassed against the commandment. So if we trespass against the commandments, the 10 commandments, then we follow our flesh. So this tree of good and evil is eating of it is satisfying your flesh without understanding that the commandments are given to us. 10 commandments are given to us to overcome our flesh and to love one another. So did Eve love Adam enough to come to him and ask him what she's supposed to do? Like, did she consider him? She didn't. And the eyes of them both were opened, and they knew that they were naked, and they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves aprons. So that symbolizes, that tells that they were naked. They were out of a covering of Jehovah because they trespassed against his law. One commandment. Do not obey me. Listen to me. And they didn't. And then look at the curse. Genesis 3 verse 16. Unto the woman he said, Jehovah said unto the woman, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, and thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. You see this? Man is to rule over a woman, but her desire is to be to her husband. And unto Adam he said, because thou hast hearkened unto the voice of thy wife, and hast eaten of the tree of which I commanded thee, saying, thou shalt not eat of it. Cursed is the ground for thy sake, in sorrow shalt thou eat of it all the days of thy life. He didn't listen. Like, he did listen to the woman instead of being sober in mind. Not so well sober in mind. I don't know how to say it, because I don't want to speak on this man's part, Adam's part. I don't know how to say it, but don't go around pointing finger at what Adam did, trying to justify women's disobedience. Because humble woman who knows, who have wisdom, who's meek, she will know to pay attention to her own. So don't be that woman who goes around pointing finger at somebody, knowing that she's got a lot going on herself and she refuses to sanctify herself. Which verse? Verse 3 and 5. And why beholdest thou the mote that is in thy brother's eye, but considerest not the beam that is in thine own? Sort yourself out first by sanctifying yourself in the 10 Commandments. That's what you gotta do. And just keep your focus on what you as a woman supposed to do for the kingdom, in the kingdom, how you're supposed to behave, conduct yourself, how you're supposed to present yourself, and how you're supposed to support your husband, and how you're supposed to help him. It's better to focus on your role, because if you got children, then you've got a lot on your plate, and you're supposed to focus on that and not pointing the finger at a man. So take heed.